morning and welcome back to Reaper Pro Tips with me, your host and Disembodied Hands Quindy, Disembodied Beard John, and maybe an earless Cornico, or maybe not. We'll see. How are you all today? I am doing my kneeling thing again. We'll be switching back and forth today between chairs. I'm going to set a timer actually, because that be the way it is. I did get a, I will not be streaming tomorrow because I did get an appointment with my physical therapist, and it was the only one they had was soon, and that was tomorrow morning. So right in the middle of stream pretty much. So I will be not on tomorrow because I will be doing the PT, trying to figure out how to make my hip a happier, healthier hip. Ah, family dinner this Saturday. Okay, well, good. So I may or may not stream on Saturday. We'll figure it out. Thanks for the heads up, Quindy. But yeah, so I will not be here tomorrow. We're going to skip a day. We'll come back and do Ghosty Guy on Thursday so I can get some input from my physical therapist. All right, I realized I hadn't really highlighted the pants either, but that'll be fast. Let me find my Kraken ink. My purples are kind of split up, so I have to kind of look around and try to find them. I'm going to be kind of annoyed if I removed it. Oh, there's Nightshade, okay. So if Nightshade is there, hey, there's a Kraken ink. Alright, yeah, my purples are kind of split up all over the place. The really dark ones are with the dark browns, and the mid to light ones are with the reds and pinks. It's kind of annoying, but it's the only way I had to organize them. So yes, we used Kraken ink for this. It's a really dark purple. I love it. It's going to go into the main line if Ron puts all of my recommendations into the Kickstarter. And I wasn't sure what I wanted to paint the hilts of the swords, so we're going to do that in this color, and then we're going to highlight. Maybe we'll use the new Monarch for that. I love Kraken ink. But yeah, I really want to run my 10K in 3 weeks, so I need to get this hip under control. If I can. If not, I'm going to end up run walking it, which would suck because this seems to always happen to me with this race. But if it is what it is. Kraken ink is best ink. Yes, agree. But it's a nice dark purple. We really like it. We're going to use it. And of course, because we had a lot of rain yesterday, allergies are a thing today, so sorry in advance for the sniffly Ann. And I think we're pretty good. I can get a little bit to the underside, although it's in shadow, so it won't really get a highlight. Alrighty, let's get a highlight together for that purple. And I think I will use Monarch. We'll try Monarch, or we'll see if it works. It should work. So purple teal color scheme on this. An off secondary scheme. I think I want to shake it a little more than that. Did I set my timer? Of course I didn't set my timer. Okay, well, do a little bit more. Now switch to the chair and we're going to go back and forth. Because my hip flexor is very angry at me. Which makes me sad. But essentially, the only thing that's going to make my hip feel better is to make my glutes do more work. So sitting deactivates your glutes instantly, which pretty much means that my hip flexor tightens up instantly when I sit. So I'm mixing some white into this Monarch. I don't want to go too... We really shifted it, so I'll probably have to go back and dial this back. Probably mix in a little bit of my Kraken ink, actually, to make a highlight. So this is like a little bit of Monarch, a little bit of Kraken ink, and some white. That looks good, actually. And then I'm going to thin down my Kraken ink, which I didn't before, so that I can layer with it and blend with it. It's a really pretty darker purple. No ears with added Muppets. I mean, I too believe that added Muppets are a positive thing. So I'm just going to try to hit a little bit of highlighting on the top of the thigh here. This lighter purple and hit that fold. We'll see how light this actually turns out since I have thinned it. Let's get in focus. And I think I'm going to need a brown liner to bring out that seam. So I'll mix that up as well. Hey there, Inara. All right, so I'm going to repeat several times today since we didn't get any advance notice. I will be not streaming tomorrow. I got a physical therapist appointment at the last minute, which is awesome. It was awesome that I got in so early, so fast rather. But it means that I must go. Because I'm sick of the pain. The pain gets old fast. Made the mistake of sleeping on my bad side last night. It was very sad. Girl. All right, and we'll get this seam. And we'll see if we can get this purple to actually show up. If not, I might actually need more white. It'll show up a little bit, actually. Yeah, it is showing up a little bit. There it is. Because the top of the leg is under the shield. So I just wanted to get the side of the leg here. And I still want it dark. I edited a lot last night. Really want to get the book finalized or, semi-finalized quickly. Gonna try to hit a bunch more in the next couple days. Yes, thank you, Quindy, for putting that in the chat for the Kuro. Yes, I will be out. Out going through, you know, the getting brutalized at the physical therapist. Yes, okay, I've been on, no, I haven't been on long enough yet. 15-minute mark, I will switch to chair. All right, so we just wanted to get a little bit of that highlight on, and I like the way that looks. I'm going to get my little, to make sure I have a solid coat on this hilt here. And I did get Bierfrau primed and looked up references for her, so we will start on her once we're done here. I haven't checked CrossFit tonight to see if it's a hell no or a heavily modify. I should do that so I can like figure it out in my head. All right, well, that's a no, and that's a no. Yeah, can't do it. I could come and do the pull-ups, but I couldn't do anything else. It's pull-ups and kettlebell cleans, and then Zercher squats, and the squats are what got me last time, so... Upper body now. Nice, nice, Bryce, nice. Yeah, it's just my my little hip flexor muscle in the front of my left leg is really, really aggravated, and the IT band is aggravated because of it. So I need to, and it pretty much like went instantly that way. It just kind of, I pushed it a little far on the squat cleans at CrossFit last Thursday. And then it was like, really seemed better by Saturday, so I ran on it, and that made it very, very angry. So I am confident that I can get back to normal fairly quickly if I can get it reversed. It's not like I haven't been working on my glute strength, but obviously I need to do more. All right, so our purples are looking good now. I like it. Very good. I don't want to bring it up too high because I still want the color to be dark. Sure, I've still got my highlights here. Great. Okay, let's do her eyes. I'm going to get up in the chair to do that. Yeah, I mean, I've come through so much in our the foot pain, the ankle stiffness, the knee pain forever, right? Months of knee pain. All of that is fixed. So this is just the last hiccup to get me fully functional. That's the way I'm viewing it. Pardon me while I switch the kneeling chair over, y'all. Like, with everything that happens, it just gives me an extra set of exercises to do to make it better. So pretty much, if I can fix this, everything should be awesome. And I have full faith in fixing this. If I can fix my knee, I can fix this. I mean, IT band pain is all weak glutes. It's all your butt being really weak and lazy because we sit all the time. So essentially I put myself on a sitting regimen where I'm not permitted to sit for, beyond a certain period of time. And I've tried to also kill the number of times that I sit throughout the day in general and do a lot more at my standing desk, which is going to help right there. There, 15-minute timer set for sitting. So I'm just setting timer so that I know when to stand up and go back to kneeling. Hey there, Roger. Roger, I'm not on tomorrow. I got a physical therapy appointment for my hip, so I am not here tomorrow. Hopefully. And I trust my physical therapist also, because she did a great job with my knee. So yeah, okay, these eyes are big enough that we might be able to do colored irises. Maybe. I don't know if my actual fine motor is up to it today. We'll find out. Actually, I'm going to switch to a smaller brush so we can find out. How about that? That sounds much better. Oh, and hold on, I need chapstick. I'm in dire need of chapstick, so hold on. One second. I promise I'll be right back. I know right where it is. Hey, Bubza. Bubba's like, what are you doing? It's definitely fall here today. It was in the 40s this morning, so I'm actually wearing jeans for the first time since, March. All right. I know it'll be fine, Roger. I mean, even when I do some of the stuff I already know how to do, it gets better. So I'm confident. There we go. Yeah, I had my chapstick in here, or my lip balm in here, for ages, and then I needed one in the kitchen this morning, so I grabbed it. And of course, then I needed it here. All right, now let's see what we can do. I'm going to grab, looking at my tiny brushes here, I'm going to grab the Winsor Newton Zero and give it a shot. And then we'll switch to the Rubloff when we get down to the really fine stuff. All right. So first we're going to just put a big dark blob. And I'm going to see how big I'm going to make her iris pupil combo. And this brush is not holding up. There we go. Always come from the eye, or come up to the eye from the bottom. We have to decide. I want her looking forward, so I know I'm going to have to enlarge that eyeball, or that iris/pupil. Right now it's pointed this way, but that's okay. That just means I need to make it bigger on the other side. Always come up from below so you can stop. Use the eyelid to stop the tip of your brush so you can place it correctly. Then slowly enlarge it. Always coming up. Paint on the exhale. Don't try to do this while you're holding your breath. After an inhale, you will shake. Either slowly exhale as you do it, like I do, or exhale and hold your breath. It's up to you what works for you. And I'm slowly enlarging. Now I really feel like, actually I need some walnut here because my brown liner is... The brown liner is nice because it's transparent when you're doing shading, but it's not nice when you're trying to do eyeballs. So I'm actually going to add some walnut into my brown liner, and that will make it much more high coverage, so we can get a nice crisp line for that eye. like snakes just fine as long as they're not poisonous. Poisonous snakes, I'm like, I could do without them in near my living space. I was gonna say though, it's when I went out for my walk, it was in the low 50s, and I managed to get a few steps in before I got on stream today. And boy, what a nice fall day! It feels like fall now. It makes me happy, actually. It's something that's been a little irritated. Tell Kuro it's something that's been a little irritated for a long time, but then my CrossFit on Thursday seems to have pushed it over, and then when I ran on it Saturday, it got worse. So a combo of CrossFit and running, but it's been a mild irritation for a while that I've been trying to deal with. And it's, it's the kind of thing where it's mild, and then you take it easy and it gets better. And then, you go back to doing your other things and it gets worse. But weirdly, it was not irritated when I ran 10K the other weekend. It was just, I think it was the CrossFit, because we did 20 squat cleans with heavy weight. So that's like taking the barbell from the ground up to your front rack and squatting immediately into it and then having to stand up. And that's all a lot of front building, so it definitely engaged that muscle, and I think it just really, really irritated it, threw it out of whack a bit. Wrestling alligators again, exactly. I mean, it does, though. I mean, I guess it depends on where Twisted Dome is as far as... Because, like, it gets cold in Dallas. Like, we would get the ice apocalypses. Okay, so putting the walnut into my brown liner has definitely made it a little happier as far as being more opaque. So I can do nice, strong eyes. I'm going to come out for the other. These eyes are just barely, and I'm going to need to get white too, an off-white, because they're pretty large eyes. These eyes are just barely big enough for maybe we can do a little bit of color. 7 minutes. I'm looking for... I guess I've got my stone gray out here somewhere. Maybe. Or maybe I put it back. Yeah. Yeah, you're right. Most of the time it wouldn't get cold enough in Aura. Because, yeah, it's only like little spaces where we get really cold down there. All right, so normally I would use weathered stone for an eye color. It's one of my options, but I don't have weathered stone in here, so I'm grabbing stone gray, and I'm going to grab a little bit of my zenith. Yeah, Laura, you got it. Weak butts, guys. It's all of our stuff is just because of weak butts. Like 100, the more I watch YouTube videos, the more I read articles by physical therapists and doctors about this kind of thing, the more I'm seeing that 95% of the injuries sustained by cyclists and runners are because of weak glutes. Because our butts deactivate so much because we're sitting. Like, I'm making a little quiet pledge to myself. So I've got a yellow-gray color here, and that's kind of what I want, but I want a little lighter for the white sea eyes. Boom. See, I'm kind of making a pledge for myself to... I'm really going to start tracking how much I sit. And when I do sit, I'm going to make myself get up more often. Because I'm ready to be done with this. I'm ready to be done with all these little issues. I'm ready to be a fully functional Anne. Brewmate. Sleepy and slow, but not fully high. Nice, Quindy. Thanks. But yeah, especially since I just registered for that 20K, 21K. That last 1K, I bet is going to feel like bad. Next year, I want to be like in fully functional Anne mode for that race. Hey there, Kodiak. Kodiak, I will not be on tomorrow. Matthew, I will not be on tomorrow. I hurt my hip and I managed to get an appointment with my physical therapist, but I could only get it for tomorrow morning. So I will not be on tomorrow. FYI, I will be being tormented at my physical therapist instead. But I like my physical therapist, so I think this will be good. So that was that color that I mixed for the eyes. Let's see if it's bright enough. I don't quite have enough light on the inner part here. It's all right. We don't want to go really bright whites. Yeah, it's all, I mean, I already do so much. That's the thing, right? I already do so much. That it's frustrating when it's not enough, right? But that's all right. I'm sure there are targeted exercises that I should be doing that I'm not. So I'm going to just I'll go in. She can yell at me for a little bit and then we'll see what we can do. Yeah, it's been a lot of pain the last few days, Kodiak. It's been not fun, for sure. Negative fun. And I have my race coming up in November, so I really want to at least be able to jog a bit of that. All right. I went and made a lighter version of the color. So that's the main one. And then I actually added more pure white. And we'll see how that does for whites. Yeah, that's part of why I haven't been as early getting on stream, is that I had to throw, 20 minutes of stretching into my morning now. Two minutes. Yeah, there we go. Get the whites going on. Okay, and then I got to make that other pupil big enough. Yeah, I don't know about color. We'll see. These eyes are just on that edge. It's possible to do the colored iris, at least at the bottom of the eye, hypothetically. Yeah, this is good. That placement makes her look like she's looking slightly this way from the front and this side. But when you face her this way, she looks like she's looking straight ahead, which is perfect. But yeah, stretches and not as much sitting, which is why I'm about to go back to kneeling on the floor for a bit, which is never fun, but the other option is not to stream, and I'm not going to stop that. So, and sadly, this desk is not a standing desk. Otherwise, I could actually stream standing up. Which would actually be the best solution, but because I can paint while standing. But yeah, we'll see what we can do. I'm going to throw myself at it 100%. So, all right. So the danger here is when you try to put an iris in, you're going to make the pupil really, really tiny. I don't know if I really want to. I don't know if I really am confident that the color is going to be worth it. And you've got such a small area that the eye color has to be really vibrant if we did it. I just don't think it's going to work, guys. I think I'm going to end up going back in with a pupil and losing all of it. That's what I suspect. These eyes aren't quite big enough. Oh, I didn't... one thing I need to do too is, well, up. Boop. My little alarm. 1 second while I get back on the floor. Boop. Oh, yeah. Yeah, sitting definitely irritates the everything. Especially the IT band connection at the top of the leg. Pretty much it just gets stretched really tight when I sit. Maybe I'll go down to only 10 minutes sitting. Yeah, I just don't think it's going to be good. I don't think the colored irises are actually going to be good here. One thing that I didn't do is really give her a nice pink lower lip. So I might need to go back in and do that. But I do need a white catch light in the eyes, for sure. These eyes are more than big enough for that. Kiki, that's enough. No woofing. I forgot to put her fan on. I was going to before I sat down here. But no. No fan. Kiki, hold on. I had to put the fan on. Enough! Settle. Settle. I have a kneeling chair, seriously. It doesn't matter. Kneeling chairs still make your glutes deactivate. Don't let anybody tell you they don't. It just gives you a slightly different posture. It can help to ease pain in other areas. But yeah, this is a kneeling chair. It still irritates it. Yeah, I mean, it's all about, essentially there are two muscles holding your IT band in place. There's the one up at the front with your hip flexor, the TFL or whatever it is, and then there's your medius glute. And essentially when the one up front gets a lot stronger than the glute muscle, then it pulls on the IT band. It puts a lot of tension on it, and that's what irritates it. And so the only way to fix it is to strengthen your glute muscles. But if you're sitting, when you sit, your glutes deactivate. It's just the way your body works with sitting. It doesn't matter if you're using a kneeling chair. If you're sitting, you're sitting. So when I do that, then that front muscle tenses up even more, and now it doesn't have the glute to counterbalance it, and so it just pulls on that IT band and makes it so irritated. And so that's why, I like to sit while I'm painting because it is the most comfortable posture, but I can't sit for very long. Yeah, I mean, what the kneeling chair can do is can help your back. My kneeling chair definitely helped my back, and I find that switching it up between a kneeling chair, a regular chair, and a standing desk is like the best of all possible worlds. Yeah, I have one. It's right behind me. It's for writing though. My this desk is my art desk, and it is not adjustable. Going to get this pure white mixed up so I can do a little catch light in her eyes. Because Laura, So when you do an eye, usually there's a dark rim around the iris. And I find that you really need that on miniatures. You need that dark rim. And the easiest way to do that when you're doing really small things is to do a dot and then do white inside of that dot. So I'll let that dry for a second, or I'll try to do a smaller one. Yeah, that'll dry faster. So doing the whole iris and pupil is a thing. And the easiest way to get a tiny, like, dark line around the outside of that iris is to do this and then to do white in the middle of it. Then you don't have to, like, there's no way you're gonna, like, draw that tiny little line. But on the small eyes, for sure, you need that dark line around the iris. Otherwise, it tends to just blend into your white. So the way that I do those would be to paint it all dark like I did there, and then to judge if I'm going to be able to do that white. Here, let me get pure white, like without thinning. So I would start it like this, like if I was going to do that, I would just thin that outer edge down until I had a really thin one, and it lets you do it very easily. And then you go back in, once you've got that, and you put in the pupil after you paint this a color. So you would choose a pretty bright color, pretty intense color, because it's so small that if you do anything else, the color will not come through. So say I'm dealing with cyan blue. I'm just going to do this on the watercolor card. You guys can see how intense that blue is. So if I'm doing this, oh, come on and dry. Then I would do the blue over the top. Really intense blue. So the blue will show up on a 28mm model. And then, once I've got that, I can come back in and put in the actual pupil. I'm not letting this dry enough, but you get the idea. Leaving the blue on the outside. And even then you almost can't see the blue. And this is much bigger, double the size of what I've got in these eyes, triple the size. So that's why I feel that in 28mm models, trying to do a colored iris is often a waste of time. Like, if you do one, the only people who are going to see it are the people looking at your model with magnification. You're probably only going to get a tiny hint of it. And you're crowding up the eye, so then when you try to do a catch light, you've got to avoid the color, and you have to, like, try to get it just in the pupil, which is noticeably smaller because, yeah. All right, I'm going to get this back in focus. But do you see what I mean? So, like, for me, we can do colored irises on our bust, and we will, but I really feel like it's a waste. Like, for almost anybody, except for maybe, like, even Derek Schubert. Like, Derek used to do colored irises a lot, but he would enlarge the eye. Like all my friends who do colored irises on 28s, they paint the eye so that it's a little bigger. Those probably have pretty big eyes. I don't have my hair folk anymore. Remember also that I have super high standards. If it doesn't look really good, I'm not going to do it. So it's not enough for me that it's going to look all right. I want it to look really good. So for me, judging these eyes, I'm like, it's not going to look really good if I do this. It's really going to crowd the eye, and it's going to make it harder for me to see all the parts of the eye. Even with this, it's hard to put a catch light in there, because I think the catch light is worth far more than any color. But there, the catch light is almost taken up the entire pupil. It's way too big and you've lost the eye. You don't get it at all. So were you also doing catch lights in your colored irises, right? Like when it comes to adding life to a model, I find that the catch light is worth so much more than a colored iris. So I'm going to paint over it and try it again. Anything from like a 0 to a 000, Matthew, depends. It just needs a really good tip. Right now I'm using a 00 Winsor Newton Series 7. I've also used like a 0 in the Rubloff. I was using a 0 Da Vinci. I was using a 000 Da Vinci. It doesn't matter as long as the brush has a really good tip. Yeah, catch light is number one. Like, you should focus on doing a catch light before you even bother like dealing with colored irises. Now I can put a catch light in my little blue eye here. One sec. Because catch light is what's really going to bring that eye to life. Then, since this eye is big enough, I can also grab some of this blue and try to make a lighter blue kind of highlight down here. I can round out that. Round out that pupil a little bit. Make it a little lighter toward the bottom of the eye. Like so. But again, this eye, so I feel like this size eye, I could do it. But look at how much bigger that is compared to what I have. So. Yeah, exactly. You're not going to see the colored irises unless you get your magnification on or whatever, right? All right, let's try to get this better. So I'm going to try to aim for the top of the eye. That's better. That's better. So I can see the pupil and iris around it. This brush has a little tiny hair on the end that's really annoying me though. Yeah, everybody thinks that like colored irises are the end all be all, but they're not. It's really the catch light. The catch light is where it's at. One second, I'm trying to see if I have a trim. Hopefully that was good enough. Oh, Kiki, that's enough, please. And usually, that was too much. See, that one got too big. But since it's placed right, I can maybe take my walnut and come in and try to paint around it, which is much harder than just repainting it, but I might be able to. Yeah, I mostly blotted it out, but I might be able to get that edge. There we go. But yeah, that light makes much more difference than any colored iris ever would. You quit. Yes, exactly. Yeah, there's very little white on an animal's eye. Now I'm painting these pretty big, but I still have significant whites. And I feel like I need more shadows on the face here, and I also need to refine the face here. So we're going to work some skin tones. We're not done with this model yet. I did the skin before everything else, and I did it very quickly, and I feel like there's more that needs to be done. You guys can see how blocky it is. So hold on while I get... All right, yeah, I've got... It's time. I can go back to sitting for... I'm going to do 10-minute timer this time, because 15 was a little long. Eh. The problem with kneeling is that even with my mat, kneeling is hard on the knees. One second. All right, there we go. Oh, boy. Alrighty, so it's 10-minute timer so I don't sit. Alright, and let's get some skin tones. So we used flushed skin for this one, which is another new color. This is a very pinky color. It's good for sunburn, good for blush, good for when you want to have a little bit of a weathered skin tone like we did here. And I'm highlighting it with fair skin. And we're going to refine this face. Needs more highlights, among other things. It figures. I spent time yesterday looking up Bierfrau outfits for this lady, but now I want them like looking at this model and I'm like, this model's not done yet. Okay, I'm gonna get that flush skin. Let's get this in camera. Boom. And then the fair skin for the actual skin color. But I also want to mix a shadow for this. Now, usually that means aiming for a brown. And if we're using a reddish undertone, we might get a fair amount of mileage out of using ruddy leather. We're not going to use ruddy leather straight. We're going to mix it with the flush skin. And I'm going to do that up a bit in the palette. A little bit. But I want a shadow color. And then I need to also do a fair skin highlight. So usually I'm doing that adding Zenith and Pure White, or just Pure White, depending on how you want it. Today I think I will add 1 drop of Zenith and then 1 drop of Pure White. Yeah, animal eyes, you always can do a colored iris because they almost always have like almost the entire eye is iris, right? So that's an exception. That's a good to bring up. Like if you're painting a husky, you can absolutely make the husky's eyes blue because blue is all it's going to show. You don't have to worry about the whites. So you usually can pull it off. Okay, let's get these colors figured out. Yeah, I think I'm halfway through editing now, the book. And I'm planning to get a chunk of it done tonight too. Later today. 1 drop of water in each to start with. And then I also need to do a blush color, so I'm going to grab something like Bloodstained red, a dark red, deep red works. Asmodeus red maybe works, but might be a little bit too punchy. Violet red can work. Cobalt scale can work. And we're going to essentially take our base color, mix it with our red, and then with a bit of white to get a blush color. And if that is, I may actually need to go a little brighter because the skin tone is so orangey. So I'll actually get a little bit of Asmodeus in there. The closer you get to using it like a bright red, the more cotton candy pink, you know, girly girl it's going to look. Yeah, as long as it worked for you, Laura. But yeah, again, animals, a little bit different because you're going to make your irises a lot bigger. Regular 28mm humanoids, however, or humans, most humans, non-beast folk, or beast folk where you don't want to do an eye that's more like an animal's, you know, I really feel like the colored irises. You can do it, and when you do it right, it's impressive, but I find it overkill. And often it messes up the eye for me. So, like I said, I'd much rather have people learn to do catch lights because it really brings more life to the eye than to have them struggle with doing colored irises on a 28mm model. There we go. That's more of a red. You can add a little skin tone to mute that down a bit. But it's going to be quite small, so it's probably not going to be bad. So I'm going to keep that the way it is right now. And then this is our shadow color. The Ruddy Leather is doing a great job of making a nice shadow for this skin tone. Not bad at all. Oh, nice, Iffy. These are MSP 2.0 except for these guys. So I want to say again, by the way, if you want a color that's close to the new Fair Skin, you want to use probably Fair Skin Shadow is closer to the new Fair Skin. Maybe even Tanned Highlight. Although I think this is more like Fair Shadow, to be honest. That's kind of what I was aiming for. The old Fair Skin was way too pale. Didn't have enough. There wasn't enough room for contrast. And then Flush Skin is another 2.0 color. It's this one right here, which is, as I mentioned, a good base for like a weathered skin tone or sunburn or something like that. You can take it and run with it there. Then we've got the Fair Skin here, and then a Fair Skin plus Zenith. And White Zenith, of course, another 2.0 color. But if you want to get there, you could just use a tiny bit of lemon yellow with pure white. It's not quite the same, but close. Zenith White. Or Zenith Yellow. Is it Zenith Yellow? Sorry, Zenith Yellow. It's an off-white, though. It's meant to be used with pure white for highlights. So in this case, whenever you want your highlight to be warmer, and in many cases, especially painting anything that might be outdoors, that's exactly what you want. You want to use this either just by itself for your first highlight or in combination with pure white or in a different white. But Zenith Yellow. Yeah, I love it. It's good. I've wanted that Zenith color for so long because I always was mixing a tiny bit of yellow into my white to make warmer highlights, and now I don't have to. I can just reach for the gosh darn bottle. Yeah, I know. I'm interested to see if Ron says anything about it. I haven't heard anything from him, so I'm interested to see if Reaper Live has any announcements this week. I'll rely on you guys to tell me because chances are I'm going to be out of commission, doing something else, editing, frantically editing. Okay, there we are. So we've got a good succession of colors now. got a blush color, lip color, we've got a shadow color, we've got our base coat, we've got our first highlight, and then we've got a second highlight finally. So that'll be good. And we've got our pure white over here in case we want to further get that going. So let's pop this out of the way. Yeah, I mean, originally I thought maybe they'd want to start it like in January. Like, first get ahead making a lot of the stuff. Then maybe kickstart it in January for like a fall release this year, fall fulfillment, to give them at least half a year to make all the bottles. I think if I had to guess, it's that logistics thing that's gonna be so hard. So I'm darkening the shadow. You see how I darken the shadow under the eye here? This is where you usually will find the darkest shadow, right under the interior of the brow here. And I really needed that because without that shadow, the eyes were disappearing. So now, yes. Yeah, everybody does eyes a little different, so. I'm going to put a little bit of this shadow on the side of the nose to bring that out as well. Anything you want to bring out. And also on a 28, you almost always, time for me to get down on the floor again, you almost always paint the bottom of the nose just with a dark shadow. On bigger models, you actually do a little bit of a cast shadow under the nose, but on a 28, that's just too much. So putting the dark shadow on the underside of the nose is enough. Oh yeah, they released a really good update. Well, that's great. Yeah, I kind of was also hoping that Dungeon Dwellers would wrap before they launched 2.0. But you know, it's up to Reaper. They're going to have to make that call. I'm going to put a darker shadow underneath the lip. And then I'm going to come in. See how much better the face looks since I had shadows? It's crazy. I haven't blended it at all, but it still looks 50 times better now that I've added shadows under the brows and the nose and that bottom lip. This really just shows you that shadows are like key in this, are key in mini painting. Shadows make a huge difference. Yeah, I don't care like if MSP doesn't launch for a little bit, MSP 2.0. It just means that like I'll slow down my content creation around it so that I can ramp it up again when it's time. Like, I'm flexible. But yeah, so now let's take this and start doing a little bit of blending. Oh, and I need to get down. Get down on the knees again. 1 second. 1 second. But all this up and downing is definitely making my hip feel better than just sitting for an hour and a half with you guys. So even though it's kind of a pain, sorry about that, it's still helping. So just set my timer. It essentially lets me stream. Alrighty, so now we can start doing a little bit of blending here on all this stuff and also getting our blush color in a little bit better. I just used the base color. I left the base color to be the blush color before. And now I'm going to use that blush color on the lips and then on the side of the cheek. And a little bit on the ear probably. But yeah, I'm cool either way. I still need to get Ron some PDF stuff about equivalents and triads, suggested triads. So it'd be useful to know when that's due, because I've got a lot of stuff on my plate this month with getting the novel ready to pass off to you guys, to my lovely beta readers. All right, let's get some of this pink in here. And I'm trying to keep that back in here. Definitely don't mind. See, now she's looking so much better. Like, it's insane. And this has only taken like 10 minutes. Like, it's insane how much adding the shadows, like darker shadows and blush to the skin. It's insane what a big difference it makes. And that's why we're going to be doing this for the next Faces video. The successor to the one that I put out on the YouTubes this week, or last week, or whatever week that was. Last week. So we're going to be covering this stuff because it makes such a huge freaking difference. I'm going to blend in a little bit here with my fair skin. And I want to make sure that I've got that edge of the jaw. Her jaw is softer than the model that I was using on that video. I'm going to use a little bit of pink on the bottom of the ear as well. And then hit it with a little bit of a highlight. Now we're looking better. We still need to get those eyelids. Nice, Kodiak! Awesome. That's great that you get to paint. Alright, now since this is such a young kid, I'm actually going to paint over this line that I left between the eyelid, the lower lid, and the cheek. Because on a child, you typically won't see it. I may highlight it a little bit with my next highest highlight just to bring it out a little, but you don't get that heavy lower lid on children. And I want to bring up that highlight there. I'm just going to paint that in. At least up front I'm going to paint it in. But you can see, like, it clears up the face. It's much more childlike looking if I don't have that line. Much younger looking. Tends to be older looking, or that her face is really scrunched up if I have it on the other side. And I could go for that. I could go for the scrunchy face, but I think I'm just going to leave it toward the outside. See how that makes the face younger? So keep that in mind. I'm going to thin down my fair skin a little bit. It's a little bit too thick for layering. Remember to leave some time for the last week of the month for beta reading. Getting a little bit more on that lower lip, and I'm going to try to blend this in a little bit more. I'll probably have to do a little bit of wet blending here, or do a mix to create a little bit of a blend here. Yeah, there is better. There we go. Much smoother. If I glaze and play with this back and forth, I can get it to really get smooth, which it should be for a child. When you're painting a young person, especially on a bust, that's when you aim really smooth. Yeah, that's why. It's because with any young person, this more lines are not better. So like I smoothed out this, so this wasn't as dark, and that makes a big difference. I erased this line because on a young face you really wouldn't see it unless the face was super scrunched up, and she's not that scrunched up. And then, you know, making this a little smoother, smoothing out everything there, and it's all coming together a lot better now. So yeah, removing harsh lines on the face gives you that youthful look. And now that 3D sculpting is a thing, a lot of models are being sculpted with lower lids, and that's fine if it's an older person. But for a kid or a teenager, I find that losing that lower lid is... Even David won't even paint it. He's like annoyed at them. Like he doesn't want to have to resculpt it. So like if he sees that lower lid, he gets really annoyed at it. I'm like, you know, it's easy to, you know, paint over or a dress. And he's like, he doesn't even want to go there. All right, that's a little bit too harsh, so I'll grab my previous highlight. I still have a little bit too much, need a little more water in that highlight color. I added a lot of white to it, so it needs to get thinned down to be smooth. I'll bring up that highlight on this side. It's a little bit nicer on that side. Yeah, a little smoother. This cheek is really round, so I want to keep my highlight round if I can. And sometimes we can still see. There we go. That's better. But I would glaze definitely to smooth everything out when I was done with this. But the face is so much better now. And it really hasn't been that much, you know, it's like 20 minutes of work. Getting a little bit more light on that forehead. A little bit more light on the upper lip here. And again, kind of fade out this little crease here so it's not as evident. But yeah, I'm with David. I don't like the lower lids on younger models being sculpted on. But I'm, unlike him, I'm willing to you know, work with it and just paint over it or blend it in otherwise so it's not as evident. But yeah, now she looks great. Look at that. Big transformation from what she started as, guys. And just took a little bit of adjustment. I probably can grab my shadow and do a tiny bit more. Let me thin it down a little. But yeah, it just takes a little bit of futzing. Oh, and I can put a little highlight here at the outer edge of the eye, just like I did on Riel on that video. I can't see the other side, it's buried under hair, but here, the outside edge here can get a highlight. Because there would usually be more light out here. That looks better. Perfect. Excellent. And then the last thing to just make sure I've got a shadow underneath the jaw. And then that neck, I have to pick up the neck. Yeah, exactly, Twisted Oma, like. It's just a feature you don't see on young faces because they haven't had enough time for the lines to wear in like on us older people. So a little shadow on either side of that tendon. And then we'll bring out the line of that. And a little bit of the throat. There we go. There's much better. And then when you go back, she looks even better because you've accentuated the shadows and the highlights. The face looks 20 times better now. And there we are. Ready for basing, which is all done for us. So we'll just put some cool brick patterns or stone patterns under her. Maybe we'll change it up and have darker and lighter stones. That would be fun. But yeah, so she turned out really well. Nice figure. Really, really good figure from Christine. Love it. Much love it. So okay, we do have time to like talk a little bit about our Bierfrau. Boop. Bierfrau. Let me actually, yeah, my timer's about up. I'm going to stand up and get back in my chair to talk about Bierfrau. Oof. Get chair. Okay. And I don't know that I need her on her base, but she'll probably take her off. But I have a base for Bierfrau that's separate, so maybe we'll keep her on her base. 1 second. Stuff Kid Adventure up here. All right. Get rid of my colors here. Ah. There. All right. Got a little base over here for her. I probably need to get this kneaded up. So, traditional colors appear to be always white for the shirt, always white or cream. And then the bodice tends to be black with red detailing. And usually it's a skirt and not pants, but that color is can be any bright color. Like I've seen blue, green, purple, red, pink. So usually a strong color for the skirts. Here, I'm probably going to go, because she's got the kind of cool gaiters on her boots. So a layer of leather there. So I was thinking black for the bodice, white for the shirt, red for the detailing here. And then like dark blue for the pants and red for the like maybe black for the boots, but red for the gaiters here, the lace overs. So I was thinking about black, red, white, dark blue. Then of course you've got your beer foam is going to be yellow. I'm open to different hair colors. So if you guys have a hair color you'd like to see, speak up. Blonde is the obvious choice. That doesn't make it a bad choice. Blonde would help draw the eye up. It would complete the red-blue color triad with primary. Obviously, we're still going to have that with like our golden beer foam, but yes, blonde would be the blonde would definitely be like a clear choice for the color scheme. So we can do blonde if you'd like. Just gonna take off some of these little 3D. Of course, there's always nubbins you don't catch, even though I went over this sucker. All right, those are the only nubbins I didn't catch from the looks of things. Yeah, all right, good. We'll keep it light. I start my blondes darker anyway, because just like with light skin, I find I have more success if I start light things with the shadow color. Haven't decided, Inara. Haven't decided. Obviously neutral's good, but you could go with kind of a brownish or reddish brick, or you could go with the gray stone. Any color of gray stone. I might leave that decision until I get everything else blocked in. I might want to go reddish stone with it, like brick, but it is sculpted more like traditional, like kind of gray stone. But yeah, neutral. Yep. The stein looks like it could be painted as either glass or metal. Doesn't look like a ceramic stein to me. It's very precise. Yeah, grayish stone. Yeah, that's what I was originally thinking, because neutral. All right. Good deal. Well, we got a few minutes, and I have skin tones out, so hey, skin tone time. Do we want to go with a little more neutral? No, she needs to be rosy. She needs to have rosy cheeks. Right? Let me mix up a neutrally skin tone. I'm going to mix my flush skin, my shadow color, and my fair skin together to get a good medium skin tone. Very easy to do. Just grabbed this, and this, and I made this. Just a brush full of each. Like, it's really not rocket science, skin tones. They really aren't. I wanted something kind of rosy. Although I did thin these all, so of course this is not thick enough for a base coat. I'll have to put on a couple coats. It's alright. But yeah, we may as well use the colors we have mixed up. And of course, one of her eyes is covered by her hair. There we go. So we're just gonna get some of this blocked in. We can at least get I'm reading a book by a runner who, when she was trying to motivate herself to run, told herself that if she ran 10 miles, she could have a root beer float. it was very successful, apparently, as far as a training program went, as far as getting her out of the house. I could not get away with that, but I suppose a can of root beer and a scoop of ice cream are not really that many calories if you've run 10 miles. Oh, 1 second. I lost a brush this weekend. I wore down one of my Da Vinci Zeros. Had to resign it to the trash. It was a sad day. Sad day in Brushville. Oh, a little tiny nubbin that I've totally missed. Thought about zenithing this model, but I decided not to because it's small. It's not even like, it's maybe a 25 millimeter scale. It's not heroic 28 or anything close to what models are now. It feels like it's much smaller. Or maybe she's just a tiny little person. But when I look at her next to her, I guess it's not that far off. It seemed like it was. She seemed like she was smaller. Probably because she's not like heroic scale, like she's more of a normal person sculpt. Townsfolk sculpt. But I guess she's really not that far off. She feels smaller though. Anyway, the smaller model I would never zenith. Lately, I've just been having David pick up my favorite from our local bakery when he goes. I had stopped having pastries for a while, but now I have him get me an everything croissant, which is kind of like a monkey bread croissant with everything spices in it, everything filling. So like the sesame seeds and onion and garlic. Super savory and super tasty. And if I run 3 miles, I can have half of one after my run. And if I run the full 10K, I get to have a whole one after my run. Alright, so we're just putting on our second coat to get a nice solid coat on this. And then I'll pop in some shadows before we go, just because I don't necessarily want to remix up that shadow color, although it's not super hard. I should actually put it down on the card 1 second. I'm going to put, bloop. I have the skin card for Kid Adventurer, but also it can be Beer Frau. In fact, I'll put her up here. Beer Frau. There. Then I've got it, and I can write down what I used, which is flushed plus ruddy leather. There. That way we still got it. See, I'm not as much of an ice cream person usually. And if I do want ice cream, I typically I want butter pecan or something close to that. It has to be a flavor. Don't like ice cream just for the sake of ice cream typically. I definitely don't like vanilla ice cream for the sake of vanilla ice cream. All right, nice coat on there. Solid. Oh, I need to get the knuckles over here. I totally missed them on this side. There we go. Okay. And now, that shadow color, I want to get the side of the hand. I'll get between the fingers, even though I'm going to line them. I'm going to get the lower part of these fingers that are hanging off the edge. I'm going to make them dark. I can always overshadow and just like come back and lighten it up later. It's not a big deal, but I'd rather have shadows in there to establish what I'm trying to do. A little bit of a bicep there, a little bit off here. And there's going to be a shadow a little bit back there against the body. Yeah, I really like the, I like that option to always make your own so you can control the ingredients in Aura. Lets you make it often a lot healthier or a little lower calorie, or to pay attention to your food rules if you have IBS or stuff like me. Gonna try some new stuff with Indian food, I think, coming up. I'd stopped doing it because onions were such a no for me, so I need something else I can use for a base. I can't do onion or tomato, which makes Indian very difficult, but I think I got a little bit of what I wanted with fennel, and then I think I'm going to try to do a red pepper sauce. And I think that'll work to sub for the tomato. So just blocking in shadows all around the face. Nice. Kodiak. Yeah, it was fun. Cooking helped me manage my weight better. And now David's trying to lose too, so if I can keep our dinners simple, that's a good. I shaded all the way around the bottom of the face as well. This is all very rough. And we're about ready to stop. Here on the chest, I'll probably just highlight since it's all facing upward. So I won't do any more shading than I did between, and I'll figure that out. But I shaded all around. Need to shade the underside of that, and then we can close the stream out. And I'm just putting a lot of shade in here again, just like blocking in. Block it in, you can always mitigate it or change it, but you don't want to get caught without adequate shading. All right, there we go. Pretty good. And then we'll do our lining and start highlighting. Okie dokie. So there we go, and we got our Kid Adventurer done. Tomorrow I'm going to be off. Remember, I will not be here tomorrow. I'm going to be at physical therapy. So Thursday we'll be back with Ghosty Night, who we're almost done with. I just have a bit more gold to go on him. We did our cross shield. So now I need to get the gold on the armor here and on the back of the shield. So I'll probably do NMM gold. And then he's going to be pretty close to set. I think he's looking pretty good. I need to make sure that's refined up there because that's just blocked in. And the hair I need to do. But he's getting close. He's getting really, really close. Yeah, so come back Thursday for that. I will be out tomorrow. I hope you all have a lovely day without me. And, yeah, thanks so much. Yep, see you Thursday. Thanks, Fraulein. You have a good day, too. And I'll see you all later. Have a great one, everybody. Bye-bye.